All right, folks, back to where we go. And boy, another fantastic day today. The hits keep coming this week. That beautiful blow off bottom we talked about last night. What a fantastic trading day it was today. Now, we had a big move going higher this afternoon. That big move up today. Everyone's trying to buy the dip. Everyone's trying to buy pullbacks tomorrow. Where's the best pullback though? Well, we had a range this morning, 9 o'clock Eastern time. That range looks pretty lonely right now. We know that range breakouts, they love to break out pullbacks. So breakout pullbacks are where I think the money is made tomorrow. We're going to cover the entire breakout pullback strategy. We'll cover entries, we'll cover exits. By the time we're done tonight's video, you'll be a master at timing entries and picking that perfect breakout pullback and make some money with us tomorrow morning. So charts are ready. Enough of the intro, right? Let's dive in and let's keep the good times rolling this week. It's been a fun week to be a trader. S&P SPY ready to go tonight. Nasdaq triple Qs are ready. I've got 4 clues on these charts right now telling me where I think the money is made tomorrow. The first clue is here on the hourly time frame. In fact, the hourly chart tells me 2 important things right now. First things first, we're definitely still overall bullish on the hourly time frame. Like I mentioned last night, I know this pullback is pretty significant right now, but remember we had that big run up, that blast above prior all-time highs. We talked about this last night, right? This seems to be a good, healthy pullback in an overall bullish market. So one thing the hourly time frame tells me right now is this is a great place to be a buyer. It's a healthy correction in an overall bull market. But I want you to look a bit closer here on the hourly time frame on both the S&P and the Nasdaq. What do you see right there? That's a range, isn't it? Right? So what do ranges do? A range is going to want to break out pullback off that level. On the S&P, it's 68.01 and a quarter. On the Nasdaq, it's 25.554 even. Now, those numbers are going to be important later on in this video, right? So make note of those. We're going to need those a bit later on in this video. Those might be the money levels for us tomorrow. So first clue, we're definitely overall bullish. I would not call this a bear market just yet, especially after that blow off bottom. Now, I got more important clues here on some tick charts. The tick charts are going to help us time the entry. There's no major news tomorrow, be aware, right? There's no jobless claims tomorrow because the government is still shut down for a record-breaking, 37 days now. But let's now dive into the tick charts here right now. 7,000 tick chart, by the way, all the time frames, upper left-hand corner right there. If you're here for the first time right now, welcome aboard. That is the 21 EMA. It's the only indicator we need to make repeatable profits each week. So 3 important clues here on these tick charts. First clue, big move going higher. I don't want to buy high in a bull market. I want to buy low, right? And a big move tells me look for a 2-legged pullback and a retest of the high. This is very common, very consistent. Big move up, 2-legged pullback, measured move, ABCD, and a retest of that high. That's one big clue here. But arguably, the more important clue right now is that range right there. Now remind me again, folks, what do ranges do? Well, there's 2 things that range tells me. One is ranges love to rotate, right? They love to rotate the amount below, the amount above. Oh, and what is, wait. What is that up there? That's another breakout pullback zone. So I'll bet that will be a good spot for a target for us on our long trades. And maybe that might result in a reversal trade tomorrow. We're going to cover that breakout pullback zone a bit later on this video. Stick around there. But most important though, the second thing is that on a range, when a range breaks out, the breakout leg becomes a measuring leg. Okay. And so I know a lot of you guys know this already, but if you don't know this already, when the range breaks out, and this goes right along with that 2-legged pullback, the breakout leg is the measuring leg. Once we know how deep that pullback is right there, that's going to give us a significant area of support. And wait a second, hold on. We just saw this number, right? The final clue is that range right there. Like I said earlier, right? That 9 o'clock range right there. When ranges break out, they love to break out pullback. Now, wait a second. That number seems familiar. 68.01 and a quarter. Look how much confluence we have in that area. Two-legged pullback, measured move breakout, breakout pullback zone, and it's an obvious number on the highest time frame, the hourly time frame. So I'm going to talk about going lower here in a moment, but you might notice right away here, look at that range right there. This is also a breakout pullback zone. So what if this thing just starts taking off to the upside overnight? Well, if it starts running higher here overnight, what you want to think about is this sequence here. So as it goes higher, I'm looking for what's basically a technical bear trap. We saw one right there, right? It's separation off the moving average. It's a higher high in price and a move right below that low. Look at that pattern we saw this morning. Fantastic bear trap pattern right there. And the same thing will apply right here. We know that ranges like to rotate. So we know where this trade is trying to go, right? So as it rotates higher, if it rotates higher, separates off the moving average, higher high in price. I want that strong green candle closing above the 21 EMA, just like I teach in my free video course, right? Okay, now at this point, we know where the market is trying to go. Now what I'll do is look for a breakout pullback off this trading range, okay? Very important. If we see this now, if this thing begins to really spike and run going higher, what I'll do then is look for a breakout pullback off this range. Now, when I say breakout pullback, I almost always look for a two-legged pullback. Not required, but definitely is my favorite. The goal will be to use what was resistance, use that now as support. And to time the entry on this, all we're gonna use is one of those two-try bear traps. Now, I'm not gonna pick a bottom on this because it may roll all the way back down again, right? What I'm gonna do is wait for the bears to try once, try twice, and use that classic two-try bear trap I teach in the free video series. And then as we go higher again, now remember, the breakout leg, right, is the measuring leg, okay? So now we know, anchor off there, that's where the final target now will be. It's a two-try bear trap. Squeeze those stops. The reason why that two-try bear trap works so well is because bears get trapped in, right? The bears get trapped in and we're buying into those stop losses. A lot of examples of those on the website as part of the free video course, right? So, okay, that's a bear trap entry. Now, after that bear trap entry, add to your winner. That same technical bear trap, we call these technical bear traps, the same technical bear trap we use there is now used again now as an add-on. Separation, higher high, and a move just below that low. All right. Now again, I'm going to talk about going lower here in a moment because that's the best trade for tomorrow, but I don't have a crystal ball, right? I don't control these markets. So if we start rolling higher here, which could easily happen with that big dip we saw on the hourly time frame, I'm looking forward to get in below prior swings, get that two-legged breakout pullback off top of that range, two-try bear trap, add on, and again, you know how to find that target, so leave that runner. Now, before I go any further, let's take a pit stop for a second because I know a lot of you folks watching right now, you guys know these patterns already. You're making bank with these already. But if you're here for the first time right now, this might be a brand new language I'm speaking, a brand new strategy I'm using right now. Don't you worry though, I teach this entire system in my free trading course. In fact, I have a ton of examples of all of these entry patterns in a lot more detail on our website as part of the free video class. What I'll do, guys, is I'll put a link up top here for you. Upper right-hand corner, hit that link that popped up there. Take that free trading course because the strategy I teach in that short video series will teach you a stupidly simple trick we use in our members trade room that literally tells us exactly where to find the winning trades each day. It is so simple. You'll laugh how simple it is. More importantly, though, we make our money by timing good entries, right? So in that free video series, I want to teach you my 4 favorite entry setups so you can time better entries, get your confidence back, get your P&L back in the green again. Guys, bottom line, if you're still missing the biggest moves each day, if you've lost your confidence in your current strategy, don't wait any longer right now. Hit that link that popped up there. Watch that free trading course. You're going to love all the trade examples I include on the website in that short video series. The best part is it's completely free for you. Also be aware too, folks, I'm going to put all the important links you need down below tonight's video. So start first on that free video course. You're going to love that one. Most folks start making money all on their own, all from that free video class. Start there first. And if you're on Twitter, by the way, or X as the kids call it these days, I post a ton of videos and charts and mindset stuff in between these YouTube videos. If you're on the X platform, give me a follow. Again, all the details you'll need to learn more, hopefully earn a lot more, are below tonight's video description of this YouTube video. Perfect. So now you know where to go here to learn more. And now you know my game plan if we start running higher here. But now let's go one step further here right now. I love the idea of that deeper breakout pullback. How would I trade that for tomorrow? Well, it's actually pretty simple, because once we get that two-legged pullback, what's going to happen? It's going to feel very bearish, right? This will feel like a reversal. But again, remember, we don't use the tick charts for direction. The tick charts are only for entries. So once this thing feels like a reversal, that's when we want to start looking for bear traps down here. Now, bear traps, very simple. Get the pullback here. Bears once, bears twice. Let those rookies, let them dig their own grave, right? Let them wrap that rope right around that neck. Once there's two tries right there, now I know where their stops are. Now I know where their pain is, right? Now I know where sellers get forced to become buyers, right? When they get stopped out. That's what produces those big short squeezes we see all the time here on these markets, right? So now remember, where's the market want to go? It wants to go back up and take out that high. It wants to rotate off of that low. So now, once we get that bear trapping and the squeeze is squeezing, we look for that separation off the moving average, that higher high in price. And again, I can't emphasize enough how important it is, that separation. What we saw right there, right? Separation off of that moving average. So important, because separation means strength, and strength means I can confidently now buy below that swing and finish off that run going higher, probably up to that breakout pullback zone around 75 3/4 overall. Now, one question for you. What if we don't get that bear trap down there? We see this all the time, right? Where we get that deep pullback and there's so many buyers down there, it just whoop and runs right back up again, and we don't get a chance to trap in those bears. Well, if that happens, what you do is, if it bounces hard off of that low, the key is start looking to buy below swings. Like over here, for example, right? Like over here. Last night had that big blow off bottom, pop right back up, right? What happened, right? Everyone starts piling in underneath those swings. When it bounces up really hard like that, the key is get in underneath those swings. Most of the time what happens is, when it bounces up hard like that, it begins to grind going higher. And all I do is I mark a trend line. Off the high, I bring that trend line down to the lows, find that channel. And again, the focus is to get in below that prior swing, right? Get in below a prior swing. That's always where, again, I would love the bear trap down there. But a good backup trade will be, if it bounces hard off it, I will get aggressive at buying the technical bear trap below the low of that swing, get below a 21 EMA, a 2-try bear trap. All of the entry patterns you guys are learning inside the free video course can be applied. The key is below prior swings, and as we always say, the first test is the best test off the low of that channel. And then one more thing I want to remind you about. We oftentimes see a strong run down. We'll get that bear trap down here. We'll get a nice strong bounce going higher. But every once in a while, what happens is the strength of that move down is so strong, the sellers come out and they run it with another leg going lower. Now, these are winning trades, right? I always take a 1-to-1. I teach that, by the way, in more detail in that free video course. But it's a winning trade, right? It's a winning trade. The stop moves up to point of entry, but oftentimes, though, they hold the underbelly of that leg and they take it one more leg lower. Now, this is not a reversal. At least not at this point, it isn't. It's a retest trade. Retest trades will quickly become one of your favorite all-time trades because anybody who sells up here, where's their profit targets? Their targets now are down around that low. Sellers up here become buyers down here. We're in overall bull market. Okay, this will feel very much like a bearish reversal. But again, this is not the hourly time frame. This is a horrible spot to be selling. But I'll tell you right now, when I was a rookie, these fooled me all the time. So do it again. Once I take out that low, and really it could go a bit lower than that too, but once those bears start chopping away at this, once those bears commit, squeeze those stops and rip that stop right going higher just like that. Again, a retest trade, right? We run down, bear trap in or not, right? Sometimes we don't. Sometimes it runs down, pops up, retests, two-try bear trap, and we're squeezing off of that low. Retest trade, double bottom retest trade, one of our favorite trades in our trade room in this overall bullish market. Now, here's a question for you. Final question here. What if we go sideways? Doesn't that look a bit range bound right there? Doesn't that look a bit rangy right there? What if we saw a trading range develop in between now and tomorrow morning? What would that do? Would that change our game plan tomorrow? It definitely will. In fact, it makes our job even easier. Let's talk about that in more detail though over here on the Nasdaq. Now, on the Nasdaq, I know Nasdaq getting lonely here right now. Let's jump to Nasdaq right now on the hourly time frame. Remember, look at how big that move up was in middle to late October, right? That tells us we're bullish overall. This is nothing more than a healthy pullback back to those all-time highs, right? That's all that was. This, by the way, was nothing more than one big breakout pullback. That big range right there, right? What do ranges do when they break out? They break out. That's all that was, right? So breakout pullbacks are fractal. They apply to every time frame. Now, the Nasdaq here, look at that 25,554 level, right? That was the magic number. We're going to see that in a moment here on the tick charts. Now, before we dive into the tick charts, though, and talk entries for tomorrow, I want to share something with you guys I've been working on the entire year this year. You know, we all know AI is the technology of the future, right? And I recently built an AI tool that gives me an advantage over every other trader on the planet. I use this AI tool in my trading, in my personal life, and I'm completely addicted to it, obsessed. I use it every single day, all day. So if you're like me, looking for ways to leverage AI, make more money in your trading, what I'll do, guys, I'll drop a special link down below tonight's video, or just scan that QR code that popped up there with your iPhone and try my new AI productivity tool I call VoiceTap. I'm going to warn you though, this thing is addicting. I love it every day. So once you start using it, don't be surprised if you can't stop using it. I use it every day, all day. So again, use that link below or scan that QR code for a free download and let me know what you think. I love that new tool, but I would love your feedback as well. Now, let's dive in and talk about the Nasdaq right now. Let's go talk about tick charts here. A 4,000 tick chart there. What do you see right now in the Nasdaq right now? First of all, a big move higher. Big move higher says what? A two-legged pullback. That two-legged pullback, where's it go? There's that 25,554 level. Perfect spot right now for a breakout pullback. There's that trading range right there, right? That range right there looks very lonely right now. It breaks out, it pulls back. That looks great right there. I love how that range right there. Now, obviously, that range right there, this is a breakout pullback, which we'll talk about here in a moment. Or look at this too, the amount above, the amount below. So if this thing starts to crumble here, don't be surprised if we take out that deeper pullback, that pendulum swing as it goes lower here. Now, the same thing we mentioned earlier on the S&P still applies here, right? There's a breakout pullback so above here on the Nasdaq as well. So if we were to go higher here right now, the game plan will be to get some separation off of that moving average and start buying below those prior swings. And then once I get that breakout pullback zone up overhead, I will then once again look for that two-legged pullback and buy, in this case, buy a retest of that high. So the exact same game plan I mentioned earlier on the S&P, the getting in below prior swings as we rotate up off this low, buying that two-legged pullback to avoid buying too high. That definitely is the game plan here if we go higher. My favorite trade, obviously, though, would be that deeper two-legged pullback, run this thing lower, get down into that key money zone I mentioned earlier. And again, I'm not going to blindly buy down here, right? I'm going to buy a bear trap down here, wait for price to pull back, bears once, bears twice, buy that two-try bear trap, and then as this thing wants to go back where? It wants to go back and retest the high up there, right? So as it makes its run, as it squeezes and runs higher, I'm looking for that separation off the moving average, that higher high in price, and we're adding right below that low. In our trade room, we call this a two-try bear trap and an add-on target back up around that 893.5 level up overhead. Easy game plan for tomorrow. And the same thing before, right? If it runs lower and V bottoms, the V bottom says buy below prior swings. The retest trade says easy money. If you ask me, love retest trades in our trade room. Now, the final question I had earlier was, what if this thing goes sideways here? Because it kind of looks like that might be happening right now. A bit choppy there, got some dojis right there. What if it goes sideways right now? Well, this is where, well, what is it? It's a bear range, right? And a bear range in an overall bullish move like this opens up, we call a slingshot reversal, doesn't it? I know a lot of you guys and gals know this pattern already, but now think about this, right? Imagine now a range forms. Imagine now we run lower, right, into that previous range. Again, this will feel very bearish, but we know better, right? It's not a bear mark. This is not a bear move, right? It's a pullback in a bull trend. So as it runs lower, we're going to wait for those bears to walk right into that trap. Let them try once. Let them try twice. Always a higher high, by the way. Once I get those two tries, now I know where stops are. Now, think about this way now. Where does this market now wants to go? It wants to rotate. It wants to slingshot off of that low. When this starts to rotate going higher now, it will pick up speed dramatically because ranges, when they rotate like this, they snap really, really hard. Once you see enough ranges like this, you'll soon realize these rotations, they get very, very aggressive. We call this a slingshot reversal. It's a bullish market trying to retest those highs, and all of these bears now, all the bears get trapped below, and it'll come in and just snap and run right back up, slingshot off of that low, go hunting for that pendulum swing going higher. And as always, in a range bound market, whatever you do, do not just sit there and watch. Add to your winner with that separation, that higher high in price, and we're getting in right below that low. Amount below, the amount above, that's our final target on a range rotation. Easy game plan. Like I said earlier, the range makes it even easier for me if you want my opinion. Now, one last thing though, a word of caution. If we do go sideways overnight, that knife cuts both ways. So oftentimes what happens is we know that strong run wants to retest the high, right? It wants to retest the high eventually here. So do not be surprised here if we see a range overnight, we run higher, and then all of a sudden we get slammed back down again, right? Because why? Because ranges want to rotate, right? They want to rotate. They don't just rotate higher, or they also rotate lower too. So how would I sell something like that? You would sell this with what we call a crown reversal. We run up, we trap the buyers in right now, right? Bull trap, basically. Buyers try once, buyers try twice. And so important. When I'm selling a bull market, I always, two things. One, half size trade, right? Half size trade. So not a full size trade, half size trade, right? Two, I must sell above a prior swing. That small detail will keep you out of so many losses. Believe me on that, or don't, right? You can test it out for yourself, but as almost 20 years experience, I will tell you right now, when I take trades, again, above the range like this, going against the overall directional bias on the hourly time frame, it's always a bit smaller position size, right? So cut your size in half. These are not as reliable. And again, you want to look for that lower low in price and get right above that prior high. You must be selling above that prior high. Now, we know now the rotation tool, right? The rotation trick, the amount above, the amount below. Now, if there ever was a scenario where that voice in your head will say, are you sure you want to buy this? I'm definitely sure, because that is not a reversal, is it? It's a range rotation, right? Ranges love to rotate back and forth, right? So when everybody starts panicking, okay, when the news media says this time it's different and blah, 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 who cares? They always make it sound so scary, right? Turn off the television, get out of the chat rooms, and trade the chart. Trade the chart. The chart is all you need. Well, once you know how to read a chart, let me teach here on these videos. So find that pendulum swing, find that symmetry. And again, I'm not going to pick a bottom on this. It oftentimes will overshoot that area and then pull back 1, 2, bears get suckered in, bears get trapped, and bam, we're right back up into that trading range. So watch out for that breakout higher that fails off that high, mark the low. That now tells us where to take profit on the short and where to buy it right back up. Only other variation of this is if it goes sideways overnight and we start breaking out of that trading range, it's always going to be that breakout pullback, like I mentioned earlier on in this video. All right, guys, that's the game plan for tomorrow. Lots of breakout pullbacks on our radar for Thursday. Now, speaking of Thursday, guys, the place to be in our trade room, 8 o'clock Eastern time, guys, the fastest way to start making repeatable, consistent profits, confident profits, is to learn and trade along every morning in the trade room at the opening bell. I'll put all the important links you guys need to get started down below tonight's video. Start first on that free video class. You're gonna love all the trading examples I include on the website. Then come join us in the trade room, 8 o'clock Eastern time, and we'll trade this stuff together. In the meantime, folks, great week so far. Let's make some more money tomorrow morning. Be well, be nice to each other out there, will ya? And be here next time. Adios, amigos. Bye for now.